Hey y'all, we are back for another review of Sistas. We're on season 7, episode 19, entitled It Takes a Village. And this episode is so aptly titled as we get to the village that has surrounded Karen during this pivotal time in her life, because we're now at the baby shower. So let's just get to it. All right. Jordan is on the couch and he is sulking about Andy, recently breaking up with him. And we see Penelope calling him, and she's calling him. He's like, where are you at? He's excited to hear from her. He has a million questions. There's a whole lot happening all at once. And she can't confirm, how she is or where she is or anything that's going on. All he really needs to know is, that I'll be back soon. And he asks about the, the baby that she was carrying. And she tells him, listen, I had some complications and the baby is now gone. And he's like, hey, if Gary did something to you or that baby, attempting to hand out threats. And she's like, listen, I don't have a whole lot of time to talk to you. I don't want this conversation to surround Gary. So let's just move on. She tells him, listen, everything I love in this world is gone, you for the time being. Andy, she's like, what happened? And he tells her that Andy broke up with him not that long ago, and Penelope immediately knows that something is wrong. And Jordan is like, listen, it don't even really matter. You're the only thing that's on my mind right now. I'm worried about you and your safety. And she's like, listen, I'm telling you, something is wrong, and what I want you to do is I want you to go find Andy. I want you to fight for your love. I believe in y'all, all that good stuff and whatnot. And Jordan is like, listen, I ain't really up for the battle. Everything that wrong that is happening in our life is because of Andy and Gary coming into our worlds. So I really ain't interested in being bothered with that at the moment. And Penelope says, like, hey, you need to go fight for her. Even though it might be harder than running for council, it's what you need to do. And the only thing that I could think about in this scene was, had Andy waited just a day or two sooner, things would be different. And by that I say, because it turns out that Penelope was going to call Jordan eventually, right? And that might be under the guidance of the FBI agent or whatnot. I don't see where, maybe I missed it, but I don't see where there was a discussion about her calling him, other than Andy saying that she wanted to give him the information, and maybe Penelope took it upon herself to go ahead and, take that task on. However, Andy couldn't hold water in a cup. So she decided to go and give him information. Like I said, had she not said anything, she wouldn't be in the situation with Gary, had she just been able to shut the hell up. That's all I wanted to say about that. All right. Moving right along, we are setting up for the baby shower, and Pam has decided that she is going to put her Rags to Riches banner in there as well, which is going to give people the impression that she sponsored the shower. Like Maurice is telling her, she's like, well, pretty much I did. Now, I don't know how the finances broke down for the shower, but she's saying that she's going to take credit and that Rags to Riches sponsored the baby shower, wanting to promote and get sales, which... all right, cool. But I'm sure that the conversation from Pam, which is Karen's mom, is going to come back up as it relates to Karen and the belief that she's owed a percentage of the company or the profits that's going to be coming in. And so they're waiting for everybody else to get there. And so we're just kind of sitting around, sulking, complaining, trying to figure out where everybody else is so we can get this baby shower up. And okay, Tony and Rich, they go to Jordan's place, and he's not answering. Of course, he's in there. He's drinking his life away to some Drew Hill, and he can't be bothered. So they make a scene, and he eventually lets them in. And he's very much unbathed, and kind of rolling around in his recent breakup, and the woe is me that he has going on currently. His team has been covering for him, so he has not had to greet people in the community and operating in his councilship or his running for the seat. And then they ask him, hey, do you want to throw everything away over Andy? Like, the boys are kind of Tony and Rich are kind of dragging Andy, and he claims, like, listen, I really don't know what I want to do anymore, whatever, whatnot. And they're mad that he is defending Andy in this moment And then they give him the dumbest advice that you could give somebody in the midst of them, being fresh off of a breakup. Either way, they tell him like, hey, in order to basically the gist of the advice is to, hey, in order to get over one woman, you need to go ahead and get up under or on top of whatever his preference is, up under another one. And they're trying to convince him that Andy's probably doing the same thing because they're saying, hey, their respective women hadn't heard from her as well. So their immediate assumption is that she's already moved on and not that something could be going on with her. All right. So, of course, they're going to have some issue with Andy that's going to come back up later on in the episode. Okay. Damani, he's the guy from corporate or headquarters, whatever that's interviewing Sabrina. He interviewed her in the last episode. He goes back to the bank to let her see the proof of the article before it's published, just to kind of look over it before it's published in the newsletter. Okay. And she seems to be impressed at how wonderfully the article mentions her, the light that it shines on her. And he was also nice enough to not mention her fertility journey in the article. And then he asked her like, hey, because I guess, she got to rambling about the fertility journey and the fact that she doesn't have a donor. Then he asked her like, hey, have you ever found a donor? And she's like, not quite. Like the prospects are bleak. And so I'm still working on it. And then he tells her that he wouldn't mind being her donor. And she is confused. She was like, well, why would you do that? And he tells her, I've donated in college, hard times, desperate measures, all that good stuff. And it would be a far better reason if I did it this time around. And he thinks that they will make a very beautiful baby together, even though he has not known her, doesn't know much about her other than her physical presentation. Well, and whatever he learned in the interview. I'll give him that as well. Anyway, she asked him about his family history. Like, she seems taken aback, but she seems intrigued as well. And so she asked him about his family history, looks at his teeth, all the other things. But then she goes on to remind him, like, hey, are you comfortable with the fact that you may not have a consistent fatherly role with this child? Because that's not, what I'm interested in doing. And he's like, if that's what you desire, for this thing to be, I might be okay with it. And she appears to be kind of hopeful and kind of interested in the proposition. So we'll see what happens. And, I'm kind of sick of Rich and his smoothies. So could be a viable option, but we'll see. Okay. Fatima and Zach are getting ready for the baby shower. And she tells him that she doesn't really want to go because, things are awkward. She didn't really see them being in this situation, a fiance to somebody with all of this that is currently going on. And Zach is like, hey, do you think I wanted this for my life as well? I didn't, but this is what we have to deal with. And he offers her an out. He tells her like, hey, if you are that uncomfortable, you don't have to go. I'll make up an excuse for you. No big deal. And she's like, no, I want to go because Karen thought enough to even invite me. So I'm going to take her up on the offer and we'll make do. We'll just make the most of the situation that we're in. So, whatever. All right. Andy and Hayden are meeting with Miss Willis. And Hayden hands her an expense report that shows that her husband Roger has presumably having an affair with his assistant. He's been moving hundreds of thousands of dollars into an account that is in his assistant's name. And Miss Willis is like, yeah, my name is on that account as well. That's like her petty cash, things that she needs to do for me or for the company or whatever. I already know about that. And Hayden tells her like, no, ma'am, not that account. There's one that does not have your name on it, and that is where this large sum of money is also going. And so she realizes, like, yeah, okay, so this proves that he is a thief, but not necessarily that he is an adulterer. So we need to get that evidence. And she sees that Andy is there, but she's kind of distracted. She hasn't said more than 2 words. And so she sizes her up and tells her, listen, very good information, but Andy, like, what's really going on? You have let Hayden size you up. Get the one up on you yet again, even though I feel like you a far superior lawyer than he is. No offense to Hayden, even though, there's some mild offense that he has taken. And it is as if she's kind of given up. She's like, I got a baby shower to go to, I've been distracted or whatever. She's like, oh, well, excuse me for inconveniencing you, but you need to get it together. Like I already told you, y'all on thin ice, especially you now more than ever, you need to pull it together. So she's honestly, it's like a woe is me, and Andy is kind of inundated with the stuff that's going on with Gary, so she can't even be bothered with this high ticket case that she has with Miss Willis going on right now. All right, then Miss Willis tells Hayden, like, once Andy walks away, she tells Hayden, like, where you going? You don't get off that easily. You need to meet me in your office because I need a tune-up. So you meet me in there and we'll do what we need to do. So, ill, but whatever. Okay. Everybody is mingling at the baby shower, you know, small talk and playing games. We're waiting for the guest of honor to, you know, make her speech, show up, whatever's happening. And then the guys are talking to Zach, of course, is Rich and Tony, and they're asking him, you know, hey, how long have you known the girls? And he's like, I've known these girls for a very long time. And he's like, they're asking him, like, hey, do you have some advice for us as it relates to interacting, you know, or being in a relationship with these ladies? And he tells him, the only thing I can tell y'all is to simply expect the unexpected. Stay on your toes. They're great people, but you never know what can happen with this group of people. Sound advice from someone deeply involved. Sure. Okay. Andy shows up at the baby shower and she's looking real late and real suspicious. And we realize that nobody has seen or heard from her in about 2 weeks, which by the end of this episode, we're going to presume that is because she has low-key been taking Gary up on his offer. And we'll talk about that when we get to the end of the episode. Either way, Tony and Rich are giving Andy like a little shade, you know, while everybody's just sitting around talking. The girls are speaking to him and they're like not even acknowledging that Andy is sitting there. And everybody's confused because nobody is aware that Andy has broken up with Jordan other than Tony and Rich by way of finding it out from Jordan himself. And so everybody's a little confused as to why the shade is being handed out to Andy. And they're trying to put on for their boy Jordan and like, you know, hey, he's living his best life anyway, so you ain't even got to worry about my boy. Even though Rich throws him under the bus again by saying in the next breath, like, hey, you might need to go check on him. And Tony is like, why would you dime him out? And he was like, listen, you smelled him. He needs somebody to check on him. And so, whatever. She's like, listen, I hope Jordan is doing a great job. I have my reasons as to why we broke up. We ain't doing it now because we're in mixed company, so it is what it is. And then she runs off to the bathroom. Like, she's been hiding in the bathroom for the duration of this baby shower, really. Okay, Hayden. Hayden gets home and Tamara is giving him, you know, some little welcome home kisses or whatever. And he's like, you know, back up, girl. Like, you all up on me. She's like, well, I didn't know that giving you a couple welcome home kisses is doing too much, but I'm going to fall back. I'm going to fall all the way back. And then she goes to reach. I need to take my time on this one because my stomach ain't really weak, but it's weak adjacent and I don't want to vomit. So she goes to reach into the back of her. She was kissing all over Hayden or whatever. He was returning the kisses or whatever before they get into that little exchange. And she reaches into her mouth and she pulls out a genitalia hair. A hair from someone's genitals, right? And not only does she pull it out of her mouth because it has transferred from Hayden's mouth to hers, but she realizes that it is a gray hair, which means that it ain't hers. The hair does not belong to her. And so she's looking like, well, what the hell you got going on? What's happening here? What's going on? And he tries to say, what, like, you know, he flips it on her, like, how do I know you wasn't, like, giving some geriatric man some fellatio or whatever? And tells her, like, listen, you the one that's been acting strange for the past couple months, and what we're not gonna do is have you accusing me, like, you know, giving real reverse psychology. And he tells her, like, hey, once you show me what's in that phone that you've been holding on to, you know, like it's the Krabby Patty recipe, then you don't ask me anything about what I got going on. And so now, you know, both of us got our little secrets and we ain't telling each other what's going on. And I'm pretty much ready for this part to be over as well, because both of y'all doing your own thing and we're not going to spend 3 seasons on figuring out how to break y'all up again. All right. Zach and Aaron, they make an announcement, you know, while the party's kind of winding down. We're doing a little toast to everybody. And we learned that the gender of the twins are girls. Zach has his own girl and Aaron has one, but they agree in front of everyone to treat these babies as as they would their own, and kumbaya, wonderful. Then Karen, officially asked Sabrina and Danny to be the kids' godmommies. Not sure why she would ask Danny over Andy, but whatever. They're all friends. We're just gonna assume that everybody's godmommies. When you're in a big girl group like that, we just assume everybody is auntie / godmommy to these kids. That's just how that works in the Black universe. Okay. Then Karen tells Fatima that things started out rocky. This ain't the ideal situation that we wanted to be in. However, here we are. But I see how you treat baby Michael, and I see the way that you keep Zach accountable, and I feel comfortable in knowing that you are going to be a positive impact in the kid's life, and I'm thankful for you. So we end that off in a good note, but we're not going to get our hopes up and presume that the conflict between the two is over. We'll just enjoy this little 2-second moment that we have between the two. All right, the party is over, right? And so the bulk of everybody that's not in this little core group, the girls and the guys and their prospective partners, these are the people that kind of left at the party after everyone else has wrapped it up for the evening, right? Everyone has faded out. Fatima and Karen are kind of talking on the side, and they realize, like, Andy has been weird lately. Nobody's been able to get in contact with her. And Fatima tells Karen, like, maybe you should talk to her. That's your friend. Talk to your friend. And then we see Andy. She's kind of giving everybody her goodbyes. She has her purse, and she's rushing to leave. And she's rushing out of her own home to leave, right? And, of course, that's very much suspicious. And before she can get out of the apartment, or whatever you want to call it, Gary shows up on the elevator, and he exits kind of looking around like, with that little snarkiness that he has, that little passive-aggressive bullcrap that he does, right? And he's stepping off the elevator looking around like, hey, this is a very good party. And so Karen and Fatima are looking like, where the hell did you come from? Who invited you? And so now everybody's kind of coming out of the shadows. We got Maurice and Sabrina and Karen and Zach, and again, this core group of people, everybody is here. We got Tony, we got Rich. Everybody's looking like, well, where the hell did he come from? And why is he here? So Zach asks him, like what the WTF are you doing here? And so everybody's confused. And of course, he is basking in the opportunity to rub this engagement in their faces, and, the fact that he knows something that everyone else doesn't know in this moment. And he takes the opportunity to let everybody know in this moment. Well, first of all, everybody's like, you need to get out of here. You need to go. And he's like giving shade. Like, hey, Sabrina's like, hey, you need to leave. And he's like, hey, who are you to tell me anything, you bank robber? And then he tells, and if Fatima's like, you need to get out of here. And he's like telling Zach, like, hey, you need to put a muzzle on your B word. And she's like, B? Yeah, I got your B word. Like, you know how I get down, whatever. So everybody's looking like questions that need answers. What's T? What's going on? Why are you here? And so he takes this moment to announce that he wanted to see the look on their pathetic faces as he officially invites them to his wedding. And Fatima's like, well, what fool would say yes to you, as their fiance? Who would want to be married to you, fool? And he's like, oh, since you got answers, since you got questions, I got answers. Here's my fiance. And we see Andy with the ring on the finger. We see the engagement ring. And it looks very much nice, very much expensive. We see the ring, and now everybody's looking like, well, what the entire hell is happening here? What's going on here? And so that is how episode 19 ends. And then we see next time where she has to tell the girls, of course, through tears, that the threats that Gary has handed out. And we also see Jordan finding out about the engagement and demanding answers from Andy. And yeah, that's how we end episode 19. Let me know what you think about the episode. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.